All right, bad loss for the Utah Jazz against the Cleveland Cavaliers. No Donovan Mitchell even. The Jazz lose. What does it mean? Let's talk about it. It's the Hoopsner Show. All right, guys, let's just give a shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks, who is the sponsor of this show. Go to prizepicks.com, use promo code HoopsNerd. They will match you up to $100. $5 down gets you $5. I got to move over. I'm out of the screen. $5, that's it. And they'll give you $5 extra. It's free money on the HoopsNerd, and they'll do it up to $100 free dollars. Go do it. I hit on mine tonight on marketing. It was pretty easy. So, guys, go to Prize Picks, use promo code HoopsNerd. They will match up to 100. And don't forget, use promo code HoopsNerd for the free match. All right, guys. So the Utah Jazz lose in a bad way to the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is a bad loss in every way you put it. And they are going into Detroit tomorrow, and there is some pressure on the Jazz all of a sudden. The Detroit Pistons have won 2 games this year, and they're on like a 24-game losing streak or something like that. They're on 2 days rest. They're going to want to beat the Jazz tomorrow. You were hoping to get this win at least, but I actually think of all the losses, this might be even worse than tomorrow's loss, because you could see tomorrow being kind of a scheduled loss. It'll be the 3rd game in 4 nights, back end of a back-to-back on the road, and they're going against a team that really wants a win. And by the way, Cade Cunningham's playing pretty well too. So not great for this Jazz team to lose this one tonight. Did not have Donovan Mitchell, did not have Darius Garland, did not have Evan Mobley, and they still beat the Utah Jazz. You know, Jared Allen had a nice night tonight. Let's see. What did he end up with? Let's zoom in just so everyone can see it, including me and my old eyes. Jared Allen goes 8 for 13. He was awesome tonight. 17 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. He was just solid overall. He actually, watching Jared Allen, I was like, he's kind of the blueprint for Walker Kessler and what Jared Allen does. And I think he can be very similar to what Jared Allen does. I don't know if we'll ever get the stretch big Kessler. He did take a 3 tonight. Hasn't hit it, but 10 points, 5 rebounds. He had a rough first half and then kind of turned it around in the second. But tough stuff for Walker Kessler tonight. Wasn't great. Simone Fontecchio shot the ball pretty well, but he wasn't super impactful tonight. Although I say that in a game the Jazz lost. 8-point loss it was closer than that. The Cavs pulled away at the end, but +8 for Fontecchio in a Jazz loss is a pretty good sign, I guess. But you know, he just didn't quite impact things tonight as much as you'd like. It's only 7 shots and 5 rebounds, and maybe that comes with being on the floor with Markkanen. You know, they're working very hard to get the ball to Markkanen, and because Markkanen's not a great playmaker, that ball's not swinging. So some of this really is the fact that Markkanen, you know, the playmaking really shows up tonight. 1 assist, pretty good. Yeah, well, it's not good. It's 1, you know, and those are assists that kind of come within the offense here and there. But Markkanen's just not a playmaker, and so you don't see as many shots here as you'd like. You know, Markkanen is a finisher. The the nickname is Adept, because Markkanen takes that ball and he shoots it. He finishes the set, and so sometimes, you know, if you know that he's not a big time playmaker, you can kind of double him and give him a hard time, and that's what the Cavs did tonight. 8 for 18 from the field, 3 for 9 from 3, 26 points, 10 rebounds. I mean, it's still a solid night, and it's credit to Markkanen. He does that well, you know, considering that he's the focal point of everything they did defensively. But, you know, you would like to see these assists go up, because when you're that focal point, that should be opening things up for everyone else. But it's just, you know, the playmaking from Markkanen is just not, it's not very good. It just is what it is. Everything else really solid offensively. The shooting, great. Cutting, you know, the transition, all of it's great. But the playmaking is the one thing that you're like, if that could just get better. And I don't know if it is going to get better. But who knows? Never say never. Let's see. Collin Sexton tonight has been playing. I mean, Collin Sexton has been kind of arguably the Jazz best player since Keontae George went down. You know, obviously, you probably argue Lauri Markkanen, but Sexton's been playing pretty well, and tonight he played pretty well as well. 3 for 6 from 3, 20 points, and he was doing some nice things. I know he only ends with 2 assists, but he had some nice plays And he only had 2 turnovers, so pretty nice for Collin Sexton. And he's playing in that shooting guard role. Taylor Horton-Tucker with 11 assists tonight. He was really facilitating. He's one of those guys where you're just like, what do I think of this guy? Because sometimes he'll put up big-time numbers, and sometimes he'll play in a way where Will Hardy can't pull him fast enough. Like in the first half, in the first quarter, THT gives up like 2 bad shots and then goes and just takes a pull-up mid-ranger, bricks it off the front of the rim, and Will Hardy has to pull him. You'll have segments like that, and then you'll look at his box score. Sometimes you'll be like 11 assists, and he'll have some nice plays. 46% from the field's not all that bad. He only took and missed 1 3. So not, it's just, THT is one of the most confounding players out there. He just is. I don't always know what to think with Taylor Horton-Tucker. Tonight is one of those nights where you're just like, I don't know. Is he getting numbers because he's playing against kind of a poor Cleveland team, and he's kind of the 3rd or 4th guy they're worrying about because he's not a great shooter? Maybe. I don't know. But it's just interesting. Chris Dunn, the numbers look pretty good, but he wasn't that effective. Look at that, -10. He goes 3 for 3 from the field and 2 for 2 from 3. And I mentioned it on Twitter. It's kind of a good sign if Chris Dunn's knocking down threes, but it did not bode well for tonight. He ends with 2 rebounds, just 1 assist in 15 minutes. It wasn't great, and that's why he's playing the least amount of minutes. They played a lot of minutes tonight too, by the way. Fontecchio 35, Markkanen plays 35, and they're back end of a back-to-back tomorrow on the road. We'll see. It's not a long flight, but man, we shall see. John Collins had a decent night, at least offensively, but man, he had some weird bad turnovers, 2 in a row on that one set, and then he goes -16 tonight. I don't know what to think about him sometimes this season. With the defense, it's not quite there. The shooting it's like a mixed bag of good and bad. You've got shooting, you've got bounce on the pick and roll. It's also not very good defensively sometimes. But at the same time, he's rebounding the ball well and protecting the rim. So I just don't always know what to think about John Collins, but it's been a mixed bag of both good and not so good. Tonight was pretty decent, though. 5 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. He hits all of his free throws, 5 rebounds. So, 16 and 5 is not the worst night ever, especially coming off the bench. So I guess you probably just give him a positive ranking for this one, but then you look at the plus minus, and this probably isn't John Collins' fault completely. It's but -16, so just very tough. Let's see. Kelly Olynyk goes 2 for 3 from the field. He got booed every time he touched the ball, and I don't know if it bothered him or what. He had 5 points, 6 assists off the bench. Pretty nice. 3 turnovers? So pretty solid. I don't know. Kelly Olynyk defensively is just bad at this point. I don't know if he's really putting a lot of effort in there just to conserve his legs, and I'm sure he's trying to get another contract because it's probably his last. And, it's bad defense. Can he be a little bit better? Probably. But there's just times where you just think, man, it's, the offense is pretty good with his ability to pass the ball, but the defense is just, you watch him. It's not great sometimes, like really not great. And so I don't know. It's a mixed bag. Ochai Agbaji took 1 shot tonight, and that's the stuff we were talking about that we're trying to avoid, and that's why he only plays 16 minutes. -17, worst plus minus on the team, I guess. Makes a little bit of sense because he's on the perimeter, and you have Sam Merrill going off tonight. Sam Merrill shoots just the treads off the ball. 30 minutes, 56% from the field, 8 for 14 from 3. He took 14 threes. The Jazz could not get the ball out of his hands. And so Ochai, when Ochai's one of the top defenders and you're out there, I don't know if it was all him, but you can definitely bet that he was on the floor with Sam Merrill a lot of those times, and it just wasn't effective. So some of these guys on this Jazz team got to figure out how to be more consistent on the road. This Jazz team is terrible on the road, really bad, and they just continued that trend tonight. That's why tomorrow is not a good omen for Jazz fans tomorrow. Really bad. Finally, let's just talk a little bit about Taylor Hendricks. Taylor Hendricks does not play tonight, and he's not playing because John Collins is back. I'll be honest, I don't think John Collins is a better player than Taylor Hendricks at this point. I mean, yes, Collins is more experienced, and he understands the nuances and the little things that Taylor Hendricks does not have the experience with and learning how to do. But he'll get there. But when you consider the defensive impact and some of those things, it's really not that close to me. I mean, I guess it's clear that if you want the guy that you know is going to make some plays and know how to do the right things, although even that, the Andy Larson article comes out and tells us that the Jazz are really frustrated with John Collins understanding the offense and defense very well, And so is it really that much different with Taylor Hendricks on the floor? Even if he's shooting corner threes for now, and then you just kind of, but even with that, we're seeing him drive to the basket, dunk the ball, things like that. I think Taylor Hendricks needs to play. And whether you're pro, convey the pick and make it into the playoffs this year, or if you're pro like me, where you just think, you know what, let's go development, let's trade some of these guys, and, we can have a bad bench and whatnot, but give these guys time on the floor to play and show what they can do so you can get a good pick while also developing players. So when you do eventually get that star, they're ready to go, Taylor Hendricks needs to play. And so what the Jazz need to do is trade John Collins. I think he's upped his value enough. I mean, any random GM can look at this stuff and just be like, look at this. 62% from the field, 50% from three. What's not to like, So I think there's something there that they can do. And yes, Jordan the GOAT. We need George. Too many turnovers with these guards game after game. In fact, let's look at it. 2. Yeah, multiple. I guess 16 is at least below the 18 mark. The Jazz were at the 18 mark and worst in the NBA. So this is at least somewhat improved, but it's still bottom half of the league, and you're right. And Keontae George, things just go better. If you have Keontae instead of Taylor Horton-Tucker, I think you probably have a little bit better night in some ways, just because you avoid some of these weird plays that come from THT. But I would argue that THT wasn't too bad tonight. 19 points. That's pretty good. 19 points, 11 assists. And as far as turnovers, just 1. So I don't know. That's why I'm confounded by THT. And honestly, look at this Jazz line starting unit. Pretty good all around, except for Markkanen, which is interesting. But I don't know. Kind of tough. All right, let's see. Let's see. We've got to bring up our thing. Guess what tonight is, guys? I've had 3 practice already with my boys' junior Jazz team, and we have his first game tonight. So I'm actually going to be going to that here in just a bit. But let's get our draft pick. The Jazz are in the right now. Let's go see where the Jazz are. The Jazz sit at number 7, and guess what? John Morant's back, hits a game winner. It's not too far away from being in this 6th spot for Utah. Not going to lie, especially when you're losing to the Cavaliers minus all their best players. Pretty tough. So let's see what happens with the Jazz tonight. If the lottery was today, and look at that, 24-game losing streak for Detroit. Is it 25 tomorrow, or does it end against the Utah Jazz? That's a little scary. All right, let's see. Oh, Utah gets jumped and falls to 8th, which gets them Stephon Castle. I was listening to a pod today. Someone had Stephon Castle in the top 3. I like him. So if you got him at 8, that's pretty good. All right, guys, that's all I got tonight. Bad loss. We'll be back tomorrow night. Let's give a shout out to our All-Stars. Dangerous Danger FC, Christian House Money to Haas, Dirty Jazz Car Wash Channel, The Outlaw Jesse James Nelson, Joshua Hansen, the Danish Destroyer, Ryan Perry, the legend, Sikali Raisive, the man from Down Under, Jake C. Yes, Jake C. can. See ya, Lex Slater, Built Ford Tough, Alexander Tufts, Jorge Arizaga, Mimi Abajo, Jordan the Goat Besserell, TGD Total Game Domination, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, KG to LM, KG to Lauri Markkanen, Patrick Kuba, the Connoisseur, and Robert Hall of Fame. Guys, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next time.